Alright, well, here's the thing that I found. Here we've got a Game Boy Advance, Pokémon Emerald, and the cartridge has obviously been beaten up and I've lost the screw to it. As you can see, it is cracked. However, the card itself is a legitimate card. Probably make that out, I don't know. But yeah. Oops. I do not have the battery in. The battery was dead and I just pulled it out. But it will function the same. The battery only affects the clock in Gen 3 games. So anyways, loads up just fine. So pop that out, pull the front of the cartridge off. Still loads just fine. Now things get kind of interesting here. We'll put this in. Oh shit. Put it in so that it's on the right side of the contacts. Line it up so that the little dip in the cartridge is lined up with the center screw, more or less. Pull that forwards a little bit. Pop in a piece of paper behind it to press the contacts into the things. Or no, press the pins into the contacts. We'll put it in over to the right quite a bit. And it seems to load just fine. Now if you position it incorrectly over to the right, I don't know if I did it right that time. Oh yeah. If you position it incorrectly, it'll just crash completely. And that time it just doesn't even load. But when you move the paper too far over to the left, and it's important that you take note that it's over to the left this time. That's not supposed to happen. This is a Game Boy Advance game. Pop this out. Put it back in to that thing so that it lines up and puts pressure evenly on all the pins. And it loads just fine. And just showing you it loads up just fine, put back together. I already know that if you don't have the pins all contacting the contacts correctly, then it's not going to load correct. I mean, that's how it works with memory cards and computers and cameras. But I find it interesting that, I just find it interesting that when there's more pressure on this side of the pins, then it loads as Game Boy Color, but when there's more pressure on this side, it will either load as a Game Boy Advance game or try to load and then crash as a Game Boy Advance game. I could probably figure something out about that by looking at the pinouts, but the fact that it happens like that is kind of interesting. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some Gen 3 to play.